All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I think we have a little bit of a time delay, which is why I think we're still hearing my intro on your end.
Everything sounds good to me here.
Yes, we have a little bit of a delay, of a delay there.
All right. How you doing? How's it going?
It is going very well. Hold on one second.
I can't hear anything. It just sounds great to me.
I have no.
Is that on your Facebook?
No, not at all. All right. How about now?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me fine?
I do now, yes. Okay. I think I see exactly what happened. So just to let everybody out there in Morgrot land know, my program now allows us to go live on Instagram as well. And I have just discovered that that's what the problem was. There was a delay between Instagram and Facebook. All right, but I figured out how to stop that bullshit. So welcome to another edition of Reapers Underground. It was a double shot week. Thank you to everybody out there, all my demons who joined us last night for the first of two. But tonight we have a very special treat. We have special effects master guru. You can't go anywhere in this business and not hear the name Joe Castro. And before we get started into this 40-year career, oh my goodness, it's just absolutely an honor. We're going to take a quick commercial break to our brothers over at Villain Arts Tattoos. Check it out. That's right. Villain Arts Tattoos, the biggest tattoo convention in the United States and the world. You already know what to do because I tell you every fucking time that we do this show, you need to get there if they come to your city, and you might even find me there. Especially in 2024, Reaper is taking over that convention. And check out all of the amazing performers and vendors that they have for you. Without further ado, everybody right now, share this out. Share it anywhere and everywhere that you know is a horror lover, because we are in the presence, the unholy presence of greatness. All right, Mr. Castro, how are you doing, man?
Reaper, thank you so much for having me on the show. It means a lot to have that beautiful introduction from you. And I just want to say thank you so much for what you do for the community, for independent artists all over the world, people that like the dark and the strange and the unusual and the beautiful, right? So funny
Oh,
whenever,
most
yeah, right. Whenever,
there is beauty in darkness.
yeah, whenever someone posts something online that's just so depraved or just out demented, I always use a word like beautiful or exquisite or you know breathtaking. Yeah.
Yeah, almost like a very Hellraiser-y kind of way
Oh,
of giving something a compliment. There's just
absolutely.
such beauty in suffering.
One of my favorite lines from a movie comes from Hellraiser 2. I mean, like seriously, like probably the top three lines, and it's when the woman comes back from the dead. She comes back from the other side, and she walks up to the doctor that brought her back, and she says she's smoking a cigarette, but she has no skin.
Right.
And she's wearing that white coat, and she has no skin. She's all bloody, and she says, "How do I look?
Yep.
How do I look?
All the blood's fresh.
Strange, yeah, strange, bizarre, unusual." That's what she says. Yeah, whatever. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely the Hellraiser series. I'd probably say the first three films are definitely in my top 10 of all time.
Mm.
So you have had a storied career of 40 years in this business. I mean, that is just amazing. So there is a passion that you have for, the dark, the strange, and all that stuff. When did your passion for horror start?
That's a great question. Well, horror, it started with dragons and dinosaurs, like all
Nice.
the little boys, right? Dragons and dinosaurs, and then when I
Definitely dragons.
yeah, dragons. And then when I was 7 years old, my dad was like, "Watch this movie, son. You're gonna like it." I was by myself. It was a weekend. It was 1977, and he was babysitting me at the time. My mother and my brother were away for the weekend, and he was working on a ranch. I grew up on a goat ranch with a slaughterhouse in Helotes, Texas, and yeah, he was out working on the ranch cutting wood, and he sat me in front of the TV, and it was Godzilla versus the Smog Monster.
Oh man,
And
classic. I used to
and
watch that on Superhost as a kid.
there you go, yeah. And it was on like an afternoon, Saturday afternoon. It was called Creature Features, and
Yeah,
I watched Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. It's like the first movie I ever watched, like by myself as a kid. And when it was
just
over,
mesmerizing.
yeah, when it was over, I'm like, Dad, how do they do that? How do they do things like that? And he said, he sat with me and said, son, watch this. He said, look, see what it says right there? That's special effects. That's how they do it. They do that with special effects. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to do that when I grow up. And I never looked back. That was 7. By the time I was 12 years old, I learned how to make my first rubber mask. And the first rubber mask I made was a mask that I planned on using in a film I was going to make because my parents bought me a video camera, and it was called Slaughterhouse GD, the Goat Deviate from Hell. Because I grew up on a goat ranch with a slaughterhouse, and
Yeah,
we used to sell goat to different people, and one of the most vivid memories I have is when I grew up in Texas, there was a lot of like, it's oil country, right?
hmm
So there was a lot of Middle Eastern businessmen that would come to conduct business deals with people there. And
sure.
whenever they would have a great deal, even if it was like 10 at night, they would like knock on my grandparents' front door and they'd be like, we want to buy a goat. I would be like, look them up and down. They're there like with a limousine, whatever. It's like $1,000, whatever, now you be giving them,
$1,000 for Baphomet.
and exactly. And then so he would sell them the goat, but then right there on the front porch in front of everybody, they would hang the goat upside down, slice the goat's throat, and
Woo!
hold a chalice right to its neck and drink the blood directly from the throat of the goat. And I would see that. I could see that. Still vividly see that. Look at that. Look at
That's
your
shit
face.
I would probably pay to see.
It was, if you talk about like having, I think that's when, like that was horrific. I don't know if I really liked horror. I didn't really like it, but that's how I was kind of introduced to like blood and realism and this kind of thing. And I still kind of incorporate that into all my work. Like
Sure.
something like that, you can't ever get rid of. You can't. I will never
Mm-mm.
be able to erase that from my mind.
I was gonna say that's something you cannot unsee at all.
And then some other things you might enjoy. So here's something else you might enjoy. So I went to Catholic school, and
Uh-huh.
we'd have Sunday school, and this is like maybe I was like 8th grade, ninth grade, just getting to high school. And so my parents were into the church, and so I would actually on Sunday for Sunday school on Sunday, like boys and girls, we were all like, we were in high school, so we were grown, we were grown, a little grown up. We would go to like the priests quarters, which is next to the house, next to the church, and we'd sit in his living room and have Sunday school there, and he would talk seriously
Ah,
to us. And one Sunday, he asked us to bring like a picture or a newspaper clipping or a magazine of someone that we admired or somebody that we wanted to pursue like a career or this kind of thing. So I brought. What did I bring? What do you think I brought?
a goat.
No, I brought Fangoria magazine.
Oh, there we go.
I brought
That's just
Fangoria.
as good in my
Yeah,
book.
I brought Fangoria magazine. Of course, it was this issue of I think The Howling was on the front, or maybe even uh um you ever seen the movie Fear No Evil?
Oh yes, absolutely.
So I know Fear No Evil was on the cover of it. And
Nice.
but if your audience doesn't know that, if you haven't seen Fear No, you have to see it. But
It's a must.
a vision of like the Antichrist. It's the Antichrist. He comes back. He's reborn, and he I think it was on the cover magazine. There's all these. The images inside the magazines were super horrific, but I didn't
Mhm.
look at it that way. That's not why I wasn't looking at it because of the content. I was looking at it because of the art.
Right.
And let's put it this way: after that Sunday, my family actually left the church because it became this huge thing where they like took the magazine from me and they called my parents, and my parents like, look, this is art. He wants to be a special effects artist. We're not worshiping Satan, trying to infiltrate your church and corrupt it or whatever it is. I don't know what they were what they thought. Anyways, so but my point is that there you go. It's just like
Good old satanic panic.
they just couldn't see beyond their own whatever it was. I don't know. Anyways, they couldn't
Anything
see.
out of the realm of what they considered to be good and
Well,
wholesome.
oh no, even more shallow. They hated it.
Of course, they hated it,
It
but
was just
yet,
hate. It was just hate. It was just hate. That's all it
you
was.
you read through the Bible. I mean,
It
you
was
want to
hate.
talk about gore and
Oh, I know.
horrificness?
Yeah,
There's
absolutely. Yeah,
plenty of
I
it.
get it. I get it. But so we just switched churches. They went to another church. But
Mhm.
anyhow. So there's that there, and then but all that, then I ran out here to Hollywood and started working on movies, right away after high school, and
That
I've been
had
here
to
ever
be
since.
that had to be such a change, like fresh out of the box, taking Hollywood by storm. What was
Well,
that like?
well, when I was in well, also when I was in high school, I won a national special effects makeup contest when I
I
was
bet you did.
15, 16, yeah, 15, 16 years old. So it was kind of, I don't know how to say this without. People in school knew that I was pursuing it. People in school were in my
Mhm.
films, and I was like, San Antonio was a very large town. That's was the town that was closest to me. San Antonio, I believe, was like the sixth or the eighth largest city in the nation at the time. So it
Oh,
was
sure.
it was a pretty big town. I think it's like fifth now, or maybe the third, even or fourth, or something like that. It's big. It's a big town, and so I was on the front of the local paper, and but people knew who I was. So it was a little different coming out here, but it was kind of the same too. I had already gotten into like working, making masks, making special effects, shooting my own independent movies, and also I was the curator for like the large haunted houses in San
Oh,
Antonio
that's
when I was in
awesome.
high school. Yeah, so I had
Mhm.
some experience already, but yeah, it was a bit of a change coming out here. But
Yeah, because it's like a whole big world, and there's a lot of people that probably, do what you do already. So,
It was different. It was different though, because yes, there's a lot of people that do what we do now, but back when I came out to LA in 1989, it wasn't that way. It
no
was more.
kidding.
It
I
was
didn't
more.
know.
It was more of a brotherhood.
Nice.
It was more of a fellowship, and it was very different than it is today. And I just want to just point out, it changed. It changed when that TV show Face Off came on the air.
I wasn't even going to bring that up, but in the back of my mind, I'm sitting here thinking,
Yeah,
I
that's
wonder if that show has like somehow
it
affected the industry.
it separated everyone. It pitted everyone against each other, because if you look at the 80s and the 90s, when we were making special effects in movies, there would be even multiple special effects houses working on the same film together.
Isn't that something?
Like Stan Winston helped Rob Bottin with The Thing at one point because the workload was too much. Can you just do this part for me over here? And they would do it. It's not like that today. There's the whole brotherhood and the fellowship has been disbanded because Face Off pitted people against each other. And, I don't want to talk too much about that. Everybody knows it's whatever it is. It's a rigged reality competition show, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, over the past couple of years, it's the camaraderie and stuff. I've found a new fellowship of people that I hang out with. I work more with independent artists now, makeup artists that are also prone to doing special effects work, and there's a lot of talented people out there. A lot of people that have their own education in the world of special effects, which makes their work like truly original, which I think is an asset. If you start scrolling through special effects artists' work, and like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. Oh yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah, I know how they do that. And then you have people that are self-taught, like myself, and they have their own style and their own technique. So I'm always like trying to do something that's strange and unusual and something that's never been done before.
Oh, and I mean, that's very evident in so many of your different creations. Shoot, this one right here comes to mind.
I can't take full credit for that. That's also from the mind of Justin Seaman, who directed The Barn too, and a very talented young man. And he's like, Joe, I need a 3-headed demon, and together we design each one of those characters, and they were all based off the original villains from the first film, The Barn 1. But then I kind of he gave me the liberty to put my own spin on certain elements of it. But he said I want all the demons to come together at the end of the film. I want to be a 3-headed demon. So yeah, that's where that comes
which is amazing. Shoot, I'm actually curious if this is like your thing, like just yours.
That one is a combination of things that have inspired me, but yeah, that's pretty much mine. I've seen other people do. Yeah, I did something similar for somebody else's film, and then I just kind of like put it on steroids for this film. That's it. Before we get further in, I want to talk a little bit about Terror Toons 4, which is
let's do that.
Yeah, you can get Terror Toons 4. I don't know if you're familiar with the first film, but the premises of Terror Toons 1 is the devil makes these evil cartoon characters that basically come out of the television set to kill children or to kill the viewers that are watching them and steal their souls. And it's just like the devil infiltrating Hollywood, or devil's already in Hollywood. It's just, anyways, my point is it's just this twist, this new twist into horror. I think everything scary about horror films comes from supernatural, the unknown, the devil, this kind of stuff, the occult, this kind of stuff. So what better way than to put cartoons and the devil together, in a horror film? And
I think it works brilliantly.
Yeah, and I give the devil a lot of people like the fact that I give the devil like some. I give him, I just give him a purpose in the film. He has an actual purpose that's completely different than what everybody else, you know, judges the devil for. The devil just wants some respect. You know, he's hardworking. He wants to, he wants to
For
leave a
real.
name for himself, and everybody's crapping all over him, and he just wants to be really good at what he does. You know, if it's stealing souls and infiltrating Hollywood, then he just wants some respect, and that's how Terror Toons 1 went down. And Terror Toons 4 is an anthology film. There's 4 stories in it, and it's available now at terrortoons.tv. And you get all 4
Down
of
at
them
the
there.
bottom of the screen at the moment, everybody out there in Morgrot land, terrortunes.tv.
Right.
Check that out.
Yeah. So, and one of the common threads with there's the original Terror Toons. Yeah, a common thread that goes throughout all the Terror Toons films is the devil or Satan or even Satan's son is in part 2, who
Ooh,
makes some new
Mammon.
new cartoon characters. And so people ask me when is the evil villains from part 2 are Hansel and Gretel, and
Mm.
yeah, Gretel makes a guest appearance in part 4. And I kind of try to bring every all the characters along into each one of the sequels. So if you haven't seen Terror Toons 1, watch it. It's kind of like in its own genre. Like there's nothing like it. Whenever we see someone who's copied something from it on TV or in a cartoon or whatever. In fact, my husband and I were just talking about how, like, when we were selling Terror Toons 2, I think the who was it, Steve, from The Simpsons? Yeah, one of the creators of The Simpsons bought the DVD from us online, and you know, it's influenced a lot of different cartoon animators, people, this kind of thing, because it's such an unusual take. People ask, is it live action or is it animation? Well, it's both. It's a animated cartoons, and they come out into the real world as 3D characters, but not CGI 3D. They're actual people in three-dimensional special effects, suits, and masks, and they kill you using cartoon weapons, but you die for real in a real bloody death. Yeah. So
I
it's
mean, that just has nothing but awesome written all over it.
Thank you, Reaper.
And
Thank you so
I
much.
absolutely need to see these.
Yeah, you'd love it. You'd love it. If you and the like I said, it's basically and everything you love about cartoons with no fluff, no filler at all. And what I think I like most about cartoons is there's like minimal story and just all fun in between, right? There's no
Right.
like they don't sit down and have these intimate conversations about their past life or whatever, why they fell in love,
Right.
and we'll just go on and this
There's
kind of
no
stuff.
depth.
No, they don't have that. It's just strictly, the premises, get to the action, the fun, the cartoon stuff, and then a fun, big, over the top, zany ending, and that's kind of what Terror Tunes is really all about. I think it's a guilty pleasure. You know, it's like eating a giant box of chocolates.
Oh, absolutely. Which it doesn't surprise me that, the person that works on The Simpsons, with the whole itchy and scratchy, it's like the
Mm.
most brutal cartoon that the kids love.
Right? Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure it definitely caught
People
their
have
attention.
compared. Yeah, people have compared it to this kind of thing, that kind of thing. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, there's a
No,
scene.
your creations are in a class of its own.
Thank
That's
you.
for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, no, there's stuff like there's a scene where a guy gets his head cut off by a giant pair of scissors, and you have to see it. You have to see it because
Classic.
it happens all in one shot. The scissors come up to the guy's head and just snap, and just comes right off on camera. And it's all practical. So if you love practical effects, there's some CGI in them, but if you love practical effects, then you will love the Terror Toons franchise. Yeah.
Definitely everybody out there in Morgrot land who has been loyal for so many years now love nothing more than practical effects. And I mean, this is just really a treat because we're going to kind of like get into the how do you do these things, like how do you bring them to life. But what we should do first, though, is check out the latest trailer for Terror Toons 4. And we're going to bring that up right now.
Hey, look at me. What are you up to?
This is not cartoons. It's terror tunes. This is where it all began.
There we go.
Right
Just
on.
a wicked,
Little
wickedly
tease.
good
Yeah,
time.
a wicked tease.
Holy crap.
We have Linnea.
There's- Yeah, I was gonna say, I recognize Linnea
Linnea Quigley, Brink Stevens, Debbie Rashawn
Ferguson.
is in it. Billy Butler from Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and the remake of Night of the Living Dead's in it. We have Mike Ferguson. He's in a whole bunch of new stuff, and just a whole.
Every time you hear that man's voice, you know it's him.
Mike Ferguson, yes. And then we have Lizzie Borden, the pro wrestler,
Yes.
porn director, porn star, who plays Candy in the first film, who's been loyal and a part of the franchise from the very beginning. She's in part 4 as well. She makes that cameo appearance in the film, and she has her own story in the film. Brink Stevens makes her directorial debut in Terror Tunes 4. Brink Stevens, the Scream Queen. She's been in over like, I want to say like 230 movies, and no one's no one's asked her to direct. So I said, "Hey, Brink, will you direct a piece of part 4?" And she said, "Sure." And she wrote one of the anthology stories in it, and I'm super proud to have her direct a part of it. She did an amazing job. So she wrote it, she stars in it, she directed it. And she's super talented. I can't wait to see her direct more stuff. I think she recently finished a movie called Sorority Babes in the Slime Bolorama Part 2. And she's
no kidding.
She's actually the star of the first one, but she directed or co-directed the second one with Billy Butler, I believe, who was in Terror Tunes 4. So yeah. It's got a lot. I guarantee you, it will not disappoint you. If you like that kind of stuff, it's no fluff. It's all effects, all fun, all terror the whole time. It's like a 90-minute special effects shot,
which is just perfect. Because I mean, us horror fans, we love nothing more than just over the top gore. I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it.
I really don't. And also, people think it's camp. I don't really do camp. It's
Does
pretty
it
dark
look camp out there to you people.
It's not really camp. Like in the third one, the devil comes to revive Dr. Carnage after he was killed in the first one, and he sneaks into a hospital while a man is having open heart surgery, and literally takes his heart out of his chest. And takes it and puts it, steals the guy's heart. And I mean, that's not camp. I don't, as the guy's on the operating table, he comes over him and reaches in his chest and takes his heart from him as he's having open heart surgery, and goes and puts it in the doctor to revive the evil villain in the film. That's my idea.
Yeah, it doesn't have
that terrifying. Yeah. It could be cartoony, but it can still be terrifying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just just very imaginative. No one has actually taken that leap, and you've done it, man. And it's got a cult following. Again, everybody out there in Morgue Rotland that's watching right now, welcome Paul, welcome Kyler. Don't be afraid to ask Joe questions, because he's here for you. Now's the time. But check it out at terrortunes.tv. And as a matter of fact, we do have one question for you already. Kyler says, what is your favorite horror movie special effect creature from a movie, and one you have made yourself? One you've seen and then one you've made.
That's a great question. So, I mean, like a couple of them come to mind, but if I had to pick something to show somebody, something that I really like is the creature from a movie called Deep Rising. If you've never seen it, you got to see it. And if you like The Thing, the John Carpenter's remake of The Thing, you will be happy to know that the man that made those effects made the creature in Deep Rising and designed it. So
Wow.
even though the
Not
final,
surprised.
yeah, even though the final creature in the film is CGI, it was designed by the same man that did the special effects for the Thing. And
Oh, that's
it's
amazing.
yeah, it's very imaginative. There's a couple of practical effect pieces of the creature that were built that like consume people, like pull them in. Like it has these hands that open up like this, and it like grabs people and like swallows you whole. But then that's just like a tentacle attached to like the bigger creature. And when they show the bigger
Mhm.
creature in the final climax of the film, and the whole premises of the creature of the film, I'm not giving anything away. You know it's a creature movie. You know it's coming up. The whole premises of the film
Right.
is the creature came up from the bottom of the ocean, the deepest depths of the ocean. And when it came up, the pressure from the ocean wasn't holding it small anymore. So it got gigantic. I just love that whole premises. So yeah, Deep Rising. That's probably, and then for me, my favorite creature, that would be hard to pick, but I will probably say there's a new character that's in Terror Toons 4, and I'm super proud of it. You may have seen it in the trailer there. It's this thing. It looks like it has a man's face with a furry teddy bear body, because the evil villain from the first film did a science experiment where he blended a man with a child's toy, a teddy bear. So it's got the head of a man's face, but it's got the body of a teddy bear. And his name
That's
is
awesome.
his name. Can you imagine being trapped in that body forever like that? You know, you're stuffing inside. Anyways, yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
I
love that
cringe every
character.
time I see Man Bear Pig.
Man Bear Pig. I have to check that one out. I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, from South Park.
Oh, from South Park. Yeah.
I think that's brilliant, actually.
Yeah, his name is Derek in the film. He was he was a human named Derek until the mad doctor got a hold of him and did a science experiment where he blended him with a child's toy. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's kind of a very sad, tragic character, like someone like that. I don't know if you can relate to this. Someone being left alone in the world, someone
Sure.
being abandoned.
Oh, absolutely.
Someone who, yeah. You like that? Yeah, I like
absolutely.
that. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, most people don't realize I was actually an orphan for like 2 years before I got adopted. So
Then you understand.
oh, I feel that.
Yeah. There's a scene in the film where the lead character teams up with this tragic character who's a good guy, and they're trying to find a way out of the madness. And she has to go into search for something, and he doesn't want to go. He's so terrified because I don't want to go where you're going to go. And she says, no, come with me. And he says, no, I'm too terrified to go. She says, well, then you wait right here. I'll be back for you. How many times have we been told by
In
someone,
horror movies, yes.
or just in general, like in life, oh no, you can count on me. I'm coming back. And people stab you in the back every time. You know what I mean?
Every time.
Yeah, just have all your trust removed from that one incident. And you can feel it in the depiction, in the performance of even though it's a guy in a monster suit, you can tell he's terrified that this new friend that he's made is going to abandon him. But she does come back. She was one woman of her word. She does come back. But still, that's the kind of stuff I whenever I have nightmares, I don't have nightmares about monsters. Okay, I have nightmares. People are monsters. The humans are monsters. The things that humans do to other humans, that's far more horrific than being swallowed whole by a creature.
I totally concur with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why so many people are so into like the crime files stuff, especially like serial killers and oh man, what do they call it? True crime, all that shit.
Yeah.
I think that's why people really tune so close into that and find it a bit more terrifying.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
To me, creatures eating somebody is fun.
Yeah. It's fantasy, entertainment fantasy. I like my horror with a little supernatural element attached to it. Yeah, the true crime stuff. I just recently completed a true crime picture with director
Oh,
Chad Farron. It's called Pig Killer. Stars a
nice.
Willie Picton. Are you familiar with Willie Picton, the serial killer? In the late
Sounds
90s,
familiar.
early 2000s, on the Canadian border, he had a pig farm, and he would throw raves where he would invite prostitutes to come and entertain his friends, and he would drug them and rape them and kill them and put them in a mulch machine and feed them to his pigs. And he was convicted, and he is getting ready to go on parole. Getting ready to go on parole. I think the laws are different in Canada.
I was going to say, how the
Yeah,
hell does that work?
yeah,
Because in the
he's getting ready to
U.S.,
go on
that would
parole.
not go down.
So it's a movie called Pig Killer. It's out right now. If you like true crime, you'll love Pig Killer. Yeah, I did all the effects for that one as well.
Oh,
So
man. I
people
will
think, yeah,
definitely have to put that one down on the list.
people think it's about a movie about a guy wearing a pig mask killing people. There's a it's there's a scene in the film where that happens, but that's not what the
Hmm.
movie's about. The movie has
That's
a
probably
lot
like
more.
a poke at,
Yeah,
what everyone thinks it's about kind
that's
of
right.
thing.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
like, anytime you have something called that, and it's involving like some sort of serial killer, everybody goes like straight to Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Right.
Leatherface, that whole idea. I've always kind of felt we should step out a little bit from that and not expect a killer to always have some kind of mask. Sometimes their true face is the most terrifying.
That's right. That's right. There's a scene in the film where this was taken from the actual, police report. He would inject his victims with radiator fluid.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he would drug them with radiator fluid,
Ow.
and then he would have sex with them, and then kill them. And then, but there's a scene in the film where he sticks a hypodermic needle into a jug of radiator fluid, sucks it out, and then sticks it right here in the corner of her eyeball and shoves it in her eye and pushes the plunger down. And it's a practical effect. I do it as all practical.
That is amazeballs.
It's pretty amazing. It's pretty insane. And the actress that was playing her, it's Alina Madison. I said, "You do trust me?" She goes, "I've worked with her on many films." She said, "Of course I trust you, Joe." So yeah, that's great. It's great when actors trust me to try new things that have never been done before. I mean, when I look at people's work online of special effects work, there's some amazing artists out there, but I just see the same thing being reproduced over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? How can I congratulate you from copying somebody else's work? It's
Right.
like that's all you're doing. I want to try something different. So when I'm working with these actors, like Chad Farron is an amazing director, I want to say, because he knows how to delegate authority to the artisans that he's hired. And when he delegates authority to me to do an effect, I come at him with like, can we do this? Can we try this? And I know you're not like comfortable with like, stepping outside the box, but can we do this? And he's like, yes, we can. Let's try it. And, putting a needle next to someone's eye and pushing in, he's like, can we try it? Will you let me try it? And I said, go talk to her. Sure. Anyhow. But yeah, that worked really well. Another group of men that are really talented is a group of men for Monster Makeup Incorporated, which is a company that just made a movie called Saint Drogo, and it's about a cult up in Rhode Island.
Better.
It's about a cult up in Rhode Island. I'm not going to say any more about it, but they approached me about doing some effects. And I'm like, yes, but can we add this to it? Can we take it to the next level and do this? There's a scene where someone gets decapitated in the film, very similar to the way Tom Savini did Maniac. He rips off him. But we tried. I wanted to take it one step further. So if you get a chance to watch it, I'm not gonna say what it is. I'm just gonna let you watch it and see what you think about it. Saint Drogo. It's in the new Fangoria. Yeah, gotta watch that one.
Yeah, definitely. I've always been like a big fan of movies that involve cults. Anything from like Wicker Man to
then you'll love this one. It's so dark.
Children of the Corn, that type of shit. But I always felt that it could have been grittier. It could have been, tougher. And I
when-
think that's why a film like Midsummer did so well, because it was so shockingly gory.
did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy that film?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, it
For
was
most
good.
people, they
Yeah.
couldn't sit through it.
No, most people didn't like it. I loved it. I thought it was very well done. Yeah,
Just like Hereditary.
I walked out of Hereditary the first time I saw it. Halfway through it,
Wow, it actually shocked you.
No. I thought it was
No?
too generic at first,
Oh, gotcha.
and then I went back and watched the rest of it and enjoyed it. So contempt prior to investigation, which is the
Nice.
problem with most people that would judge a film by its poster or judge a film by whatever. Contempt prior to investigation. It would turn out to be a great film. So it's Monster Makeup Productions. I want to make sure I get that right. Saint Trogo. It's a movie that will make you, like, when I finished watching, it was like my eyeballs had been raped. Let's put it that way.
That is the mark of a good film.
My eyeballs had been raped. Anyhow, okay. Yeah.
Fantastic.
What else? What else are we going to talk about?
There's much more. So I've always kind of felt that special effects, artists like yourself, I always kind of felt like they could make excellent directors because they know how they want things to look, and they're always thinking like ahead. How would this look, on camera? So at what point did you decide to step on the other side?
That's a great question. Well, when I first started learning how to make a rubber mask, it was the same year that my parents bought me a video camera. It was just 1982. So I needed some sort of venue to showcase my work. So I was filming stuff and making special effects at the same time. And then in 1993, I made a film we talked about earlier titled Ceremony. And its true title is Ceremony: The Resurrection of Evil. And it's a hard film to explain, but I can explain it in one sentence. Ceremony is about a woman's fight to save the world from destruction by the hands of a fallen angel possessed by Satan.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Let's let that sink in, everybody out there. I love the concept, actually.
It's it was my first film. It was a massive undertaking. It's shot on 35 millimeter Panavision. And for most of you that make movies and have never done anything on film, it's totally different ball game. Back in 1993, when people were making movies and there was no digital film, digital filmmaking, or even iPhones for that matter, it was a bad boys club. You could not make a film unless it was shot on film. And you had to have X amount of dollars to do it. You had to have access to cameras to do it. You had to, specific film cameras. Then the film had to be developed only special places developed 35 millimeter film.
Exactly.
It's not you go to Albertsons and throw you. Exactly. It's not
hard back then.
Yes, it was totally different. And so we made this film. Well, the opening of the film is shot at the same location where they shot the original black and white version of the 10 Commandments that was directed by Cecil B. DeMille. And, it was a massive undertaking. I'm super proud of the project still. It stars Forrest G. Ackerman. And Forrest G. Ackerman, for all of you that don't know, he is the man. He's like responsible for you and I having this conversation right now, because he is the very first sci-fi horror groupie ever. And he made a magazine called Famous Monsters of Filmland.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was the star of my first feature film, Ceremony. And I have nothing but love. I could talk about Forey for hours, but I'll just one little story. He carried, first of all, he wore the same ring that Bela Lugosi had in the film Dracula on his finger. Bela Lugosi gave it to him because he was young enough to actually sneak on the Universal backlot when they were shooting Dracula and became friends with Bela Lugosi.
I'm so jealous.
He's the very first horror groupie ever. And then he also had, Bella gave him this like little small vial of fake vampire blood that Bela Lugosi would have on him just in case they needed to put blood somewhere on set. And it looked like a tiny little beer bottle, like the same color. with a little
I know exactly
with a little
what you're talking about, too.
cork in top, with a little cork on top of it like that. It's like this tiny little bottle, and he pull it out. He show me, show me like this is Bill Lugosi's little blood, and here's the ring. I have a picture of me like worshiping the ring on his hand somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
probably
got
kissed it,
yeah.
a
So
couple of times.
yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've had some amazing mentors in my life,
Yes.
And before I go any further, I have to give a big shout out to my husband that's sitting over there. I couldn't have done any. We've been together for 25 years. I wouldn't be able to do any of this without him, Stephen Escobar. And Stephen is actually responsible for the entire Terror Tunes franchise. He's been the executive producer on all 4 films. Stephen taught himself how to use After Effects in the year 2001, when we shot the original Terror Tunes, which was unheard of at the time. People didn't know what After Effects was, and then put the first film together. And he's been, like I said, the post-production supervisor, and he's been the main theme throughout all of the franchise. And he released the quadrilogy for us, so we could all enjoy.
Thank you so much for that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then of course I got to give a shout out to Brink Stevens and Herschel Gordon Lewis, who was my mentor for many years, and he was also the star of Terror Tunes 3. Are you familiar with Herschel Gordon Lewis? Blood Feast, 2000 Maniac, The Wizard of Gore. Yeah, Herschel's in The Gruesome Twosome. Yeah, he directed those films, and he loved the original Terror Tunes so much. I asked him if he'd be in part 3, and he said yes. So we flew down to Florida, where he was. He passed away in 2016, but I was able to get him in the film and shoot him, and get him to speak about the film, and he just was an amazing man. And fun fact, Stephen and I interviewed him for like an hour on camera. We've never released it, where he divulged like all these secrets, like all these, and he told us the actual blood formula that was used in the very first slasher movie ever. It was for Blood Feast, the original Blood Feast. So I'm kind of like the curator, the keeper of the blood formula from the very first slasher movie ever. Yeah.
Which we will not divulge, because some secrets are best kept.
Yeah, no, it's so much more. It's so much more special it's special that way, Yeah.
And that's actually something that I was thinking about, with you starting out, making your first mask and stuff like that. How, like, there's back in, the 90s and stuff like that, there wasn't a lot available as it is today. Like, you can go to a costume shop, get this, mold or, adhesive and stuff like that to like affix things to yourself.
Yeah.
So how did you go about creating some of the things in the early days?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a magazine called Cinemagic. CINE Magic, and it was a magazine that was produced by young independent filmmakers. And if you got a subscription to the magazine, you could put your name and your phone number, and you got like a few sentences in the magazine. You could even write articles and submit it to the magazine about stuff that you were creating, what you were working on. So you were basically corresponding with other people that were trying to do the same thing you were doing. We made pen pals that way. And then also
before the internet.
Yeah. Back in like the 80s, like I could literally pick up the phone and call Tom Savani on the phone, and he would pick up the phone and talk to me.
He's like one of my biggest heroes of all time. So
he's an amazing man. He was very helpful, very kind. And,
if I ever meet him, I probably will shit myself. So it's definitely bucket list.
Yeah, that was like 1982, 1983. I could pick up. So back in the day, you instead of Googling someone's phone number, or whatever, or finding them on social media, you would call 411. And if they were listed in the phone book, the 411 operator would give you their phone number over the phone. They say, I would say,
a lot of trust.
Yeah. So I would be like, you know, Tom Savini lives in Pittsburgh, so I called the Pittsburgh. You find out like the Pittsburgh area code. So you dial the area code for Pittsburgh, and then you dial like 55541 or 411555 or something like that. And then
Right.
their operator would pick up, and you would say, "Man, please have the number to Tom Savini." And this, how do you spell his last name? And I'd spell their last name, and then they would give me his phone number, and then I could just call him on the phone. I'd be like, "Hi, may I speak with Tom?" Of course, I was 13 years old, you know. I
Holy
sounded,
shit balls!
yeah, and he would talk with me, you know. Yeah. So it was a more of a pen pal kind of thing, and people,
Sure.
different world, people were loving and sharing and give. I have no problem like talking with people and sharing my techniques and concepts with them, if you know if they're really with it and for it, and you know. But you know, there's like you said earlier, there's some things that should remain special.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't give it all away, because I feel like in horror, as this day and age, that everybody knows too much about everything, and it's so easy to just steal, steal, steal.
Yeah.
So and the one thing that's always remained a constant is the fake blood, and I feel like that should be. If somebody like coins it just right, and I'm a huge Hammer Horror Productions fan,
Yeah.
and their formula for the fake blood.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone should know how that works. So if it should be sacred.
Yeah, you know, when you look at someone's work online, first of all, I just want to say out loud, something's gonna be completely here goes a very unpopular sentence. Putting blood on you or on an actor is not a special effect.
No, it definitely is not.
Okay. But putting but splattering blood in a way that looks like a crime scene or looks like it really came out of someone's body is, I'm just going to say that. Now, also, sometimes when you look at someone's special effects work online and it looks pretty good, but it just doesn't look real. You can't figure out what it is or why it doesn't look real. You just know it doesn't look real. It's normally the color of the blood.
Exactly.
And people don't realize that the color is so important. It's so
Extremely.
important. It's so important. Well, I mean, one time I was working on a film with Mick Strawn. Mick Strawn was the production designer for Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and I can't even begin to tell you how many amazing things he's done. Anyways, and somebody brought us the blood to use. I didn't bring the blood on set. Someone else brought the blood we're going to use, and it came over to me, and I put some in my hand. But the test is you put it on a piece of something white. I put it on my hand, and I went, "This is inappropriate. This won't work." And it was a kid. It was like someone a little younger than me. I mean, just a little younger. I'm like, he's like, like taken by it. I'm like, this won't work. We can't. He's like, this is all we blood we have. And I'm like, no, this doesn't work. And I went over and I like showed Mick my hand, and he's like, that's incorrect. That won't work. And he's like, well, what can we do? What can we do? And I'm like, well, do you have some red paint? So what do you have? What do you have that's red? Let's take a look at what you got. We can change this color up. I think we literally used salsa and a blender with the blood he had, and we kind of tried to bring the blood to the right color of blood. But yeah. So the color of the blood is very, very important. Yeah,
extremely. And I mean, all of these creations that you've made, I mean, I just wouldn't even know where to start to try to like cultivate something like this.
Even when I just looked at it, I went, Jesus Christ, what am I looking at? I want to look at that. That is from Chad Farron's new H.P. Lovecraft masterpiece monster movie.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Lovecraft fan, so anytime I see certain things, it's like I love seeing that type of stuff come to life. It's like I just don't understand how you sculpt these things.
Well, H.P. Lovecraft is considered cosmic horror.
Well, for sure.
Yeah, cosmic horror. It's a whole new brand of horror, and that right there is, from the mind of the director and me. I like to work really closely with the directors whenever I'm, on a production. Back in the day, a lot of young artists believe they're know-it-all. They're know-it-alls, And when you're in your like late 20s and early 30s, you think you're a know-it-all, right?
It's the
You
same
got
in the music
yeah,
industry.
yeah.
Then,
You got your looks going for you. People want to sleep with you. You're young, you're fresh, whatever. That's all fine and dandy. So you think you know it all, right?
right.
But the truth is you need to remain teachable. That's it. If you
Yes.
remain teachable, you'll go really far. And I like to work really closely with the director. I'm constantly asking them, do they like this color? What do they want the eyes to look like? What do you see? How does it feel? How does it look? What does it need to do? I'm constantly allowing them to be a part of the process because I don't know everything. And something they say may inspire me. Um, and I use
Absolutely.
I like to design everything on paper before I build it. I like to I look at all the really. Can you pull that picture up again?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Like if you notice the bottom teeth are curved
Yes.
downwards and out. See that right there? That was really special for me. And little things like that. Like this big thing on the side that looks like an open wound.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like an open wound that's been stitched shut on the side. And it gets the feeling, it gives you the feeling that there's a wound on the side of this thing that looks like an alien penis, you know.
Right.
And then, and of course, those teeth, those teeth like basically turning the wrong direction. And yeah, the little things like that, they're really, kind of take it to the next level, do something different, try something new.
The
Don't make the
thing
same
that
thing.
really strikes me about your creations is the attention to detail.
Thank you. Thank you.
It
I've
is absolutely true art.
I've learned from the
I've
best.
seen, well, sure. I mean, it shows. You
Eh,
see so many indie horror films where I feel like people get cheated a lot on practical effects. They're like, "Oh yeah, we didn't use CGI. We don't have big budgets and stuff like that." But it's like the details aren't there. You can tell that you went to Spirit Halloween and bought out their bargain bin and put it into your film, you know? So I don't know. I mean,
I
Terrifier taught us a lot that, on a modest budget, if you have the right artistry
yeah,
behind you, you can make stuff look so realistic. And I'm telling you, man, you're at the top in my book.
thank you. I
Always will
appreciate
be.
that. Well, like I said, I can't take all the credit myself. I've had
Sure.
I have amazing teachers. A
You
man
have
named
to be inspired.
and even in just the past like 7-8 years, I've learned so much. You know, Rob Berman, who is the son of Tom Berman, who is the son of Ellis Berman, and these are like the three top special effects makeup artists in Hollywood. They've done so many huge films. I can't even begin to tell you, like The Beast Within, the remake of Cat People with Natasha Kinski. This is one of my
Oh
favorite. That
man,
movie Prophecy
those
about the mutant
films are
bear.
iconic.
Oh yeah, remember the Devil's Rain? The Devil's
Oh yeah.
Rain. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. Anyways, Rob, I studied with Rob. Rob Berman is he's just a magician, just a master of his craft. And then Brian Wade, who did sculpting on the remake of John Carpenter's remake of The Thing. I can't even begin to tell you how many countless things he's worked on. The new Aquaman. I just on and on and on and on. Anyways, and I've had the opportunity to study with these men and watch them work and be with them and in their studio while they're doing what they do, and just sitting and like talking with them as they look at another piece of art is also watching them study and do what they do. Like they have so much knowledge, they can't even be. If how can I say this? They're not even trying to teach you something, and they're teaching you something. How about that?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how much knowledge they have.
That's a lot of the process, I think.
Yeah. So, and then of course also Don Lanning. I studied with Don Lanning, another amazing sculptor. Yeah, I just basically remain teachable, man. Keep going. Just keep trying to learn something new. Don't be a know-it-all. I've learned some of the most magnificent things from people who are just starting. because they look at it from, they have a different
A different set
perspective.
of eyes.
Yeah, especially female special effects artists and female directors. They have a very interesting perspective in a way that most men don't look at things. So you keep your ears open because you might learn something.
Yeah, I feel that way, especially just from like an actor perspective. You know, the last thing I'm going to do is walk onto a set and say, "Oh, don't worry about it, I got this." Are you fucking kidding me? You have to take direction.
Yeah.
And I think that goes all the way down the line, as far as behind the scenes. So that explains, so much about the way you create and really try to bring the director's vision to life.
Exactly.
I guess my only question would be, like, when you're creating your own stuff, you're directing it, you may have come up with the idea, you've written it. Where do you pull inspiration from?
That's a great question. As of late, recently, I basically I always go to Mother Nature. All my inspiration comes from Mother Nature, because somewhere in this world, on this is, we live on such a huge planet. There are so many things about this world that we do not know. Somewhere out there is something that somebody else has either done or said or lived or experienced or whatever, and it's on the internet or it's somewhere. But I definitely go to Mother Nature. If you want to know what a person's face looks like that has had its skin taken off, Google it. You will find it. Don't try to make it up on your own. When I see people like try to make shit like that up on their own, and I see their work online, I'm like, that's not what it looks like. I have friends that are morticians, and they I will call them and say,
man,
hey,
they would know more than anyone.
I'm like, does this look real? And they're like, well, you need to kind of put like that right there, and that's kind of stuff. Go the extra mile, go the extra effort to, like, really, if you can master realism, then your fantasy will be amazing. But if you're just playing in the world of fantasy the whole time, no one will be able to relate to it. It'll just be like, what is that? I don't get it. What is that? What is that thing? What is that supposed to be? Mother Nature creates some of the most amazing things. So yeah, Mother Nature, that's where I get my inspiration from.
It's really why I wish, modern artists like painters and stuff like that would take a page out of that book, in a lot of ways, because there's no better teacher than that.
Yeah, she's the best one. Mother Nature is the best artist of all. Yeah, if we can get like 50% of what she's done into our work, you're doing real good. You're doing real good. Yeah.
So I guess, one of my final questions here would be, would you ever prefer to work mainstream or stay independent?
Well, I've done both. And Jim Carrey has said some pretty profound things about that.
He is such a wizard. I don't care what anyone says. That man is a wizard.
Yeah, he's like, I wish everybody were a millionaire for one day, so they could see what it feels like. You think it's like something different or something special, and it's not. In fact, the higher you go in mainstream cinema, the more that it's expected, the more there is to lose, the more work to be done, the less you get from what you put in. Everything is the same. You put in this many hours, you get this much in return. You put in this much, you get this much in return. I mean, people sell their souls, to be in mainstream cinema. I don't know if you know that, but it's true.
I see them doing it even on the indie circuit.
They sell their souls for that. And, like, I worked on one of the Harry Potter movies, and it was a great experience. Would I go back to doing what I was doing, for $25 an hour?
Oh, wow.
This was over a decade ago, but it was $25 an hour. doing,
No.
looking at a visual effects screen, because most people don't realize the average lifespan of a visual effects artist is 2 years in the business, because there's always someone younger and hungrier coming in. There's a little kid coming in that'll do it your job cheaper. There's all these kids on the internet that learn how to do CGI. They're doing it for pennies. They're doing it for a regular paycheck, like working at McDonald's.
Wow.
The price of working at
insane.
McDonald's is going to be $20 an hour now. So if you're getting like $30 an hour to go to an $80,000 education, $80,000 to $100,000 education in visual effects, you have to pay off your student loans.
Right.
But then it's going to take 2 or 3 years to get or whatever, 4 years to get your loans paid off. But then your career is already going to be like being turned over because there's someone younger and hungrier coming in. See, anybody can do visual effects. You can learn it online. You can learn it. You can be taught a skill. That's a skill, right? Now, what I do is different. It's a little different than what most people.
It's way different.
That's different. I put on knee pads when I go to work. You know what I mean?
And you should.
There's a little piece of me that there's a little like there's literally a little piece of me in those effects. Sometimes I'll be like going to glue an appliance on somebody or something, and like my beard hairs in there. There's like literally I cut my finger. There's a little bit of blood right there, and I'm just kidding. I'm just saying, but there's literally a piece of me in everything I make. I mean, the universe takes a little piece of me and puts it in everything I make. There's a little piece of me in there, and I don't mind it. I'm not complaining.
No,
I'm just saying that what I
all.
do is different. What I do is very different than what like a visual effects artist does.
Absolutely. And you basically said it right there. A lot of people can learn how to do these things. Probably today's standards by watching a YouTube video.
There's
which I can't stand, but the true artist puts themselves into their work.
Yeah.
These guys are just trying to make a name for themselves, like you said, get that regular paycheck going. But the true artist goes the fucking distance. And that transcends all entertainment. And that's what makes you so special, Joe.
Oh, thank you, Reaper.
Yeah.
Thank you. I try my best, and I'll end with this, one of my father, before I moved out to LA, I stopped on the front porch, and I was like, I was packing, getting ready to go out to LA. And he's like, I was like probably 19 years old. He's like, son, don't ever stop chasing your dream. Promise me you'll never do that. I said, I won't, Dad. So I've kept that promise.
You were lucky.
I was a lucky man. Yeah. I was super
you were
lucky.
Definitely lucky.
I had an amazing father. Yeah.
Oh man, that opens up a whole nother can of worms, but I think we'll save that.
Okay. I didn't mention anything about my mother. See,
that's
so
true.
I have a whole side to it. Yeah, I have a whole other can of worms there too. So
for sure.
I can relate to you. I know what you're going. I know I can relate to what's going on. I can relate to you. So you probably have a lot more in common than people know.
So in my usual final question is always this: what would be your we'll try to make this simple, your top 3 favorite horror films of all time? Doesn't necessarily have to be something you have done, but that you've seen.
Well, I can tell you my top 3 influential films. My
That's
favorites change, my favorites change around, a lot.
Sure.
It would be probably David Cronenberg's Rabid.
Nice.
Never seen Rabid, the original Rabid.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 1982 version of Poltergeist. Poltergeist. It's a great film. It's such a great movie.
So ahead of its time, really.
So ahead of its time. Great film. And then probably Godzilla versus the Smog Monster would be the top 3. And it's supposed to be the darkest Godzilla film ever made.
It is.
Because Godzilla almost dies in the movie at one point. He's being suffocated to death by toxic waste and sludge in the bottom of a pit, and you think he's going to die. and it's very, very sad. It's a very sad film. It's very, at one point.
Oh, I was gripped as a kid when I saw that for the first time.
Yeah, totally changed my world. But then there are other films like Gates of Hell. Absolutely, it's probably the one up there. And Blood Feast. Herschel Gordon Lewis's 1963 masterpiece that basically set the stage for every slasher movie ever made. Is based on his film Blood Feast. And most people don't realize that. But Blood Feast was the very first slasher movie ever made. And when I say first slasher movie, I mean a deranged killer stalks innocent victims one by one, killing each person on camera in a horrific, bloody death. And then in the climax of the film, the killer dies at the hands of the hero or heroine of the movie in an even more horrific on-screen death. Where have you heard that storyline from?
I don't know. Every 80s film ever made.
Every slasher movie ever made. That is Herschel Gordon Lewis's formula. And if someone tells you otherwise, they don't know what they're talking about. In fact,
they're lying.
Yeah, Joe Bob Briggs will tell you the very first slasher splatter movie ever made was the 1963 version of Blood Feast by Herschel Gordon Lewis. And most people don't realize this, but Herschel wrote the film. He edited the film. He shot the film. He directed the film. He created all the special effects for the movie, and he composed all the music in the movie.
Woo! And that's one thing that I think that makes you the total package. You do so many different aspects and not just the special effects, which makes you a leader in the industry, in my opinion, because I don't know too many people out there currently that are willing to take on all those roles, behind the scenes to really make it come to life.
I appreciate you saying that very much. And, my husband's always like, because whenever I'm hired to work on somebody else's movie and to do special effects, I pour so much heart and soul into it. I'm like, just like laser focused on each individual effect. And when I wear a whole bunch of hats, my own effects, when I'm doing my own films, are at times not the same caliber as they could be. So even though I enjoy directing and producing my own films and doing special effects for them, I'm super laser focused when I'm working for other people. And that's why the caliber effects I do for other people are so out of this world. Yeah.
I totally get that.
Thank you.
Man, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's just been amazing listening to your journey and all the amazing things you do in independent film, horror films in general, all the effects. They're second to none. And all of you need to go check out these films. And you obviously know at the bottom there, go to terrortunes.tv to check out that amazing series that Joe has created. And let's tell everybody out there in Morgrot land where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at Facebook, facebook.com/Joe.Castro. I'm an easy find. Send me a friend request, but more importantly, send me a message. Introduce yourself. And maybe send me some clips of your short films or your trailers, and let's make a movie together. Or you can find me on Instagram at Joe_Castro_director. But you can see my entire body of work in picture on my portfolio online at joecastrofx.com. And I really appreciate you having me on the show, Reaper. And I hope that you and Mischief can come hang out sometime. If you're ever in the Los Angeles area, I try to get her in Terror Tunes 4. The cards, the stars did not align right, but we're getting ready to do a big film in 2024, and I hope y'all get to come out, or we can meet up at a convention or something, and I can get you on the next one for sure.
That would be amazing, because sitting here the whole time, the one thing I had in my head is I must work with this man.
Absolutely, we'll make it happen.
Turn me into the greatest creation you could possibly do, the most blasphemous.
Well, absolutely. But one of my you're gonna love this. One of my like bucket list things is to create the quintessential version of the devil.
Oh,
Like
I'm
a-
in.
Yeah, like the quintess like the version of the devil when people look at it go, oh my God, that's the devil. Not a devil or a demon, but the devil. And that's what I want to. That's what I want to leave when I leave this world.
Which would be so much more terrifying than what people are used to seeing.
Yeah, something is something. I've done some prototypes over the years that still play into what I want to do with it. We'll see if it happens when it happens. But it's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna happen. So
Ah,
I think you love
that
that.
would be
Yeah.
an honor for sure.
Yeah. So anyhow, I really appreciate you having me on the show. It's great talking with you. And if anybody has
Absolutely.
any questions or wants to ask me anything, please reach out to me. I love to be of service to members of the independent film community and the art world and all the dark and wonderful things we love.
Absolutely. Thank everybody for tuning in this evening. I appreciate every single one of you. I understand we didn't have that many questions this evening because, damn, just captivating listening to Joe talk. And we appreciate you every single time. Don't forget, coming up on Monday, we have another Tracks of the Damned coming up, and a special edition of Reapers Underground next week. That stay tuned to Facebook on my page for that, because I got something real special for y'all. So, and as you are laying it down, going into the rest of your weekend, and you have visions of Joe Castro's amazing effects, whether it be decapitated head, doesn't matter. It could be the most horrific monster ever. But the most thing that you should always do is stay heavy.